Oh, hi there. I wanted to make this video to make a point about the Trump election. Um, there's been a black joke as president for the last 8 years. I say a black joke not because he's a serious man or because he doesn't tell jokes, but because of the things you're not aware of that he's done in his presidency. He may seem like a decent and reasonable fella, and he probably is in most respects, but the fact is, a lot of heinous, horrible things have happened under Barack Obama's presidency. And I, like myself, and Donald Trump, and Heath Ledger, the Joker, whom I actually believe is still alive. I believe it's a conspiracy in that he was never really killed, or, didn't OD, or, whatever, however he died, supposedly. I don't think that happened, but we are actually men of peace. And Black Man, he's a bad joke. And nobody found him funny, and a lot of people thought he was a decent, hard-working man, and in a lot of respects, as I said, he was. But in other ways, there were things about him you don't know about that you wouldn't like if you did know about him. Let's take a closer look. I bought a peace symbol chain earlier today at my music store. It's not worth anything really. It's not real gold, I highly doubt. I only paid like $4.87 for it or something, so whatever. The Make America Great hat again, I bought online. I forget how much I paid for it. I think I paid like $20, and then if I coupled it with another item, which was the Donald Trump shirt that I bought, it was free shipping, so I think it ended up costing me like $60, but I forget. But anyway, the thing about Batman, or Black Man as I like to say in this video, is that although he's there for peace and justice and everything like that, the way he goes about doing things, because he clearly has issues, Obama has issues, that you don't see when he goes to make conversations or interviews or whatever. Like today, he was like, I'm not apologizing for this, that, and the other. I forget exactly what it was that he was talking about, but the thing is, it had nothing to do with him, bombing Syria and bombing Libya and all those other places. There are some people out there that aren't going to be happy with his decision making and aren't going to like the things he's done. Which brings rise to such figures to counterbalance and, bring proper unity to centralized government. And that's, unfortunately, bringing out characters like the Heath Ledger Joker, which I'm using as an example and as a prop in this video. I have my theories that he may have had to do something he didn't want to do, or he just wanted to get away from it all, or he'd had enough, or who knows. But do I honestly think Heath Ledger is dead? No, I don't. I think he's hiding somewhere, and he may never reappear, but I don't think he's gone. He certainly will never, fade from existence, which could possibly happen if the Chinese take over. And we don't know Obama's position on that. Like, we know he's made friends with Cuba. That was more recent news, and that's understandable to do, even though they were a Cold War enemy. But he's also done arms deals with the Vietnamese. Now that I don't agree with, because Vietnam is basically a puppet government for the Chinese. and them doing arms with them, arms deals, it does not bode us well. I don't entirely know what it means. Nobody does, of course, because it all happens behind closed doors and it's all secrets and hush hush. We don't know. It's no reason to overreact and panic about it, but that's a very serious issue. You can't be dealing arms with people who've done horrible things to your guys 45 years ago, 40 years ago. No, we ain't forgiving them for that. And the fact that we got a civilian occupation force here, I'm not going to say a lot of them are Vietnamese because they're not. They're from Hong Kong mostly. But, and it don't matter if they're nice, decent people. I mean, that's to be taken into consideration, obviously. I mean, if they're just trying to, you know, earn a living, raise a family, and all that sort of stuff, that's perfectly normal and perfectly acceptable. But if they're here for more sinister reasons, which some of them are, they need to be watched carefully and inhibited to learn the ins and outs of history and politics and their delusions of justice and what's right and wrong. Because make no mistake, Barack Obama, even Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, George Bush, Bill Clinton, George Senior Bush, Ronald Reagan, whoever the hell the leader is in China, whoever the hell the leader is in Russia. Oh, I think it's Putin, actually. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. They have a different perception of what's right and wrong from your average everyday citizen. Now, I don't aspire to be anything like those people. I don't want to go with the flow and become a person I don't want to be. But in light of my conversation about propaganda, about military-industrial complex, about modern society, modern warfare, and all that other stuff, you have to take into consideration that we got some major league problems, and Black Man's Joke has run its course, and it's time for the Dawn to take back what belongs to us. Because that's the bottom line of what the story is. If you read between the lines, you know what I'm talking about. And we're just not going to put up with it anymore. I don't know about anybody else. A lot of people, you know, they color in the lines, they do their work, they pay their taxes and all that, and everything's been fine for them. But everything ain't been fine for me. I've had a sore throat, and I think it may go all the way up to the President of the United States that's helped contributed to it. The policies he's made. He may not know my name or my face, probably doesn't, but rest assured, I'm sure him being president has affected me indirectly, and it has led to me being in a worse situation than I ought to be. And you know, I don't know, it's a very difficult situation to describe. Me myself, I like to try to make my own propaganda and my own interesting topics of interest to people. So, you know, it's not that easy to create original content. So sometimes you have to borrow ideas from other people. That's, and, you know, give your spin on it. That's perfectly normal, I think. It's, yeah, it's one of those things. These wars, these politics, they're never going to end. And that's the way it ought to be. Because there's some things that have gone on in this world that you can't just forget about. And there will always be people who disagree with you and who remember the past differently than you do and have different action and different plan for the future than you do. And peace is the way to go. But whose interpretation of peace and how we go about doing it and what the propaganda machine says about it, those are all things to be decided. And hopefully the Don has a different perspective than the black man's bad joke. So anyway, yeah, I've said my piece on this video. I thought this poster was pretty cool. It's actually kind of funny. I fell asleep. I bought the poster before a couple of months ago from my favorite video store, and I'd fallen asleep, and I woke up and just at my bus stop, and I was just in such a rush to get off that I forgot it, and I didn't remember it until the next day. And so I had to buy it again, but it was totally worthwhile. I mean, look at that, man. That's a nice poster. I mean, I got tax in it, so obviously I didn't, you know, put it in a picture frame or anything like that, but, you know, it cost $7. Whoop-de-doo. I'll buy another one if I really want one in mint condition. So anyway, that aside, yeah. Similar to Heath Ledger, the Joker, Donald Trump, myself, we are interested in peace. It's whose definition of peace that is the question. I mean, it was just a movie that the Joker, Heath Ledger, was in, okay? So, you know, take real business matters into perspective and ask yourself, why so serious? And you understand that China, the whole Asian hemisphere, and all them, again, why so serious? Anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a good night.